We're back, people, and today we're breaking down film on Austin Jackson, Miami Dolphins right tackle, and we're just mostly looking at his run game work because he was a huge loss last season to the run game. I think he's more important than certain people think. Like, he really was out there like displacing people like on a down-to-down basis, actually very consistent in the running game. Like, a big reason, I think, if you look at the stats, the film backs it up. Like, there was a 4-game stretch where the Dolphins run game was actually like by far and away its best part of the season, and that was when like the full line was healthy, but really when Jackson was in there. And his loss just was like a super big one, and really like it just exemplified like just the rest of the weaknesses, because you either need like next year, because Jackson has struggled to stay healthy, you need like a replacement for him that can actually play to somewhat to his level, or you need everyone around him to get much better, like the guards and the tight end play, because when he was out there, he helped out like Eichenberg a lot at right guard with like some combos and stuff like that. Made life easier for him, and to like the tight ends that were attached to him play side, he made life easier for them. Like right there, you can see Liam get that hook because Jackson worked that combo with him really well. So we're gonna break this down. Just look how because Jackson, didn't have the greatest start to his career, but he's still not the perfect pass protector. But in this system, it doesn't matter too much. But he's a guy that goes out there and just plays with a lot of fight, and he creates displacement. It's not like he's the strongest person ever, but he's athletic. He goes out there and tries to move people, and he like does it, especially like that's why he plays tackle. I think guard, if he had to like base block people a bunch, he would struggle more to create some of that movement, but he does a good job of just like attacking the hips of defenders. So here we see him fly off the ball. Like this was week 1 versus the Jaguars. Look at him fire off the ball. He gets help with Julian Hill. So him and Julian Hill work a combo. And look, like, you didn't see tight ends do a lot of good stuff this season when they were not next to Jackson. But look at him work his combo. They just fire. Look at they displace Walker like multiple yards. And then once that happens, Jackson peels off and then gets the linebacker and then swallows him up. And then Julian Hill is able to still seal off Walker because of that momentum and displacement that Jackson was able to create on him, that Hill was able to then seal that off. And that gave Jeff Wilson like a great lane to work through and pick up a first down towards like an end of a game where you need to be able to run the ball. That's the kind of thing Jackson was doing out there. Another example of this, I think Jackson did a really good job in a couple of different concepts. Outside zone, when he has to climb the second level, and like he does a great job in those areas. He's very comfortable on outside zone. But I think on like some gap scheme stuff like power counter, he's very comfortable down blocking, and like because right here they're down blocking this side of the line and then they're pulling the left guard through. And then when 91, like, he just has to attack the low hip like this to down block. Look how much displacement he creates. He just completely washes him down the line, uses his own momentum against him. Jackson's very comfortable in these areas, and he helps create a lot of lanes. Like, because he moves this guy multiple steps, and, like, other alignment on the Dolphins, you don't really see this from. Even Armstead. Armstead is, like, just a very good player, but he's not a super displacer in the run game. Brewer was a good player for you, but he was also, like, a more of your reach blocker in the run game, where like he seals people off and he just gets to places with his athleticism. But Jackson's actually able to just move people off spots. Like here's another example of it. Another time where Dolphins are working some gap scheme. They're pulling through here, and then just look at Jackson down block, get onto the 3 tech, and look at how much just attacking half the man, and he creates all that displacement. And by him creating all this movement, it just makes the lane so much bigger and makes life easier on the other players to seal off, because they don't even have to be perfect in their blocks, because there's so much room created that HN has this big cutback lane. So even if they don't get the perfect block on them, HN has just a great chance here. Here, this run doesn't really go anywhere, but Jackson just doing it again. Look at him down block here. Get to the guy who's playing as a 1 tech. He gets down to the 1 tech, attacks the low hip, makes life easier for Liam. Look at the power here. Power combined with his speed there throws him completely off balance out of the way, and he's still able to also then get up and find a second level defender and throw his body in the way. If things get blocked up a little bit better from the puller with Jones and Julian Hill, like you could have had a big run there. But Jackson feels like for all the Dolphins' big runs, he was a huge part of all of them. This one got called back because of Durham Smythe holding right there. Here's just another example of Austin Jackson, very comfortable on out in space, like getting to the second level. Here he is cutting off a safety like it's nothing. He's got good athleticism. He takes good angles. You'll see him on screen plays. Like, he's a good screen player. Like, we're not really looking at pass protection stuff, because I think pass protection for the Dolphins, they do a lot of jump setting. There's not much to look at. Like, he'll have his losses, but for the most part, like, they just make things easy with how they do pass protection. So, like, it's not that much to break down. But I feel like this is where, like, he's really more important. Like, let him get out there and seal. Like, he takes a good angle, gets his hat across, and then look at them use that right outside arm, get it into, like, the armpit area of the safety there, and then use that momentum in his body to now then seal and cut that off, and then to sustain that block and carry it, and even throw his body into another defender to seal that down. That would have been a huge run. It just got called back because they called it on Smythe, which was a weak call there. That guy just moved around in the wrong direction. Um, but just constantly doing some good things there. Fire off the ball. He fires off the ball. He uses that left hand like as a drag hand to help Liam potentially, but that guy didn't get off the ball well laterally, so Liam is able to cut him off. Then look at him just get to those defenders. Look at him, like, he gets up to the linebacker so easily. That's a good player in Bernard, and he cuts him off, seals him. Unfortunately, this is the play where Mostert fumbles, but Jackson is clearly doing his job and was such a big part of the success of that run game. This Bills game, I think, might have been hit. No, I think I think this was his last game of the season actually. But this was like the last game of those stretches where the Dolphins were running the ball well from like the Patriots, Colts, Bills, Cardinals. They were able to find success in the running game. Jackson was a big part of that. As I was talking about, it's the gap scheme stuff he does really well, where he's the right tackle and he sees the three technique. He has the perfect leverage advantage to get down, attack the low hip. Ed Oliver's a one gapping shooter upfield, and he just completely throws him out of the way there like it's nothing. I believe that. I don't know if that's Ed Oliver actually, but he did it to Ed Oliver earlier. Yeah, that's not Oliver this time. But he completely washes him down the line, just creates a big lane up the middle. Like, if you look like at other people, like other people are doing their job, but like no one is creating that level of displacement that he is on those plays. And then you have just situations like this. Like, it felt like Liam played his best ball of the season too when Jackson was out there, because like look at him work this combo on 99. Then now Jackson's able to seal, and then Liam's able to peel off and find the linebacker. Just creates this nice lane for Wright to work through, and this was the end of the game. I think he's got good lateral quickness. Jackson definitely more comfortable moving forward than backwards, because he's never looked quite as comfortable in pass protection. He's definitely improved in pass pro, but it's still not a strength of his game. Here's another example of him getting up. This is something I think right tackle struggled with when they had to just climb the second level, because sometimes you had to like chip and help, but Liam's able to reach this guy pretty quickly. Now when that happens, you got to be able to like rip through, and sometimes I feel like the tackles on the Dolphins, whether it was Patrick Paul or Kendall Lamb, they kind of struggle to rip through and get a clean angle. Jackson's able to rip through this and avoid the contact. That he's able to get a clean angle. So now he's like waiting for the linebacker. This linebacker is not able to impact this play at all. Takes a super deep angle, has no chance to get out there, and you pick up a nice like 9 to 10 yard gain. Love seeing that. And then look at him just move people, man. Like, he gets working the combo with a tight end, this time with Smythe. First Trayvon Walker again. Look at him use this torque to completely turn him, and then now you're able to use that positioning that Wilson can work off the back of you. And that was like a short yarded situation where they were just trying to, pick some stuff up. Very, very nice. Like, here's another good play. This one got called back, I believe, for Tyreek holding, but it was just another effective one where like he's ripped in the next level. He sees, like, he throwed that drag hand, like, so if 94 does shoot out, he can help Liam. But since 94 doesn't immediately get out laterally, Liam's able to cut off, and Jackson's able to then climb to the next level and get to the linebacker and sustain that block, 9 yards down the field. It's so impressive, the stuff he was doing in the run game. Another example of him just, as we're saying, like, Dolphins running power, Jackson at the scene of the crime, always having the best rep on like power and counter reps. Look at him attack, completely wash him, because this side's down blocking. Jackson goes there, Liam climbs up to there, Hill's climbing up to the second level defender, and then Jones is pulling through to find 0. And then you want Hill or Ingles your kick out guy, but Jackson always having the best rep in those situations. And just constant big runs. Here's a nice toss where they're able to actually get the edge. It always, like, usually the Dolphins struggled on all our like toss plays. This one not as obvious because they're under center. Sometimes they do it in, like, with the obvious crack toss situation. But here, just good job making life easier for Liam. Throw that drag hand. He sees leverage too, because like sometimes he fires out right away. But he understands, like, depending where the D tackle is and depending where the linebacker is. Here he sees that the linebacker is still a little far behind. he knows he has the leverage, and he sees that he can help Liam a little bit longer than usual, so he doesn't fire out enough. And then Liam gets the seal, and then he goes and finds the other linebacker because he knows then Julian Hill, the puller, will then have that play side linebacker out in space. So just like good adjustments on the fly, I think for Jackson, he has a very good feel for those types of concepts as well. Um, Definitely keeping him healthy will be a big part, I think, of the Dolphins' run game success. No matter what they do at other positions, like other positions will help you, it maybe not be as a big of a loss, but it definitely helps having him out there because, like, look, another rep where he completely displaces a defender. This is a big D tackle where, like, he's not typically going to move this guy if he has to straight up base block him. From him attacking the low hip, kind of using his own momentum and leverage against him, he's able to seal. He's active with his hands. I think he doesn't have the greatest placement all the time, but he's definitely very aggressive with them. And here he is flying down. Look at him just completely move this guy out of the way. And once he's completely washed that guy, he still goes up and finds a linebacker that's deep down the field, throw a body on them, and Mostert's able to hit a nice hole there. Just absolutely beautiful work. Another example, our guy tries to shoot up the field. Jackson not gonna let that happen. He's gonna displace you, and all it took was just some nice hand work there, some violent hands, and Mostert's able to work up and pick up a nice gain. Almost gets into the end zone on that play, actually. But it's just constant fighting and work. Here he is working a double team with a tight end, and Mostert's able to hit up the middle. And also just like a screen guy. This one's not like a crazy screenplay, but he throws a body there, then able to seal off there. He's definitely a comfortable mover on space. Especially, I think you saw it more in the previous year because that's when he was played more games and he was out there for more screen calls. But I do think Jackson is a bigger part of this team than most people know, and I think that people are starting to realize that more just because of how last year went. Like when he went down, the run game numbers went down drastically, and when he went down, I think Ingold also missed time. But when Ingold returned, it didn't change too much. So I think it was like pretty clearly like it was Jackson, uh, and like you even had Tua back, which helped the passing game, which should have made the run game get more success, but they still just couldn't run block up front. So upgrading all around, but Jackson staying healthy is also a huge part of that team's potential success. So hopefully, health reasons has been a problem for Miami for years now, but Jackson better than people think. So if you guys would like,